The year was 1972, 42 years ago. The Dallas Cowboys defeated the Miami Dolphins in Super Bowl VI. 5 men were apprehended at the Watergate Hotel in connection with the Watergate scandal. MASH premiered on CBS. President Harry Truman died, and over the Yucatan Peninsula on June 14th, a tropical depression was forming. That tropical depression would ultimately become Hurricane Agnes, the first hurricane of the 1972 Atlantic hurricane season, and one of the largest June hurricanes on record. After starting as a depression over the Yucatan Peninsula, it then progressed to the east and into the northwestern Caribbean Sea, before strengthening into a tropical storm. On June 18, 1972, Agnes first gained hurricane status. Hurricane Agnes made its initial landfall on the Florida Panhandle near Apalachicola, Florida on June 19, 1972. Slowly, it advanced up the southern Appalachians, going through Georgia and the Carolinas. As Agnes progressed through Georgia, it weakened into a tropical depression on August 20th. When the storm finally reached the Cape Hatteras, North Carolina area, it went back out to sea. Re-emerging, Agnes made its second landfall as a weak tropical storm. However, it still progressed extremely slow and remained over the states of Pennsylvania, New York, Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey until June 24, 1972. Some locations reported having measurements over 15 inches of rain within this region, with an average being around 6 to 10 inches. That amount of rainfall was one of the leading causes for the damage estimate to rise above $2 billion. Damage came mainly from the flooding along the East Coast. However, damage also came from other normal effects of a landfalling hurricane, including storm surge, tornadoes, wind, rip currents, and erosion. Hurricane Agnes added unneeded rain to an already saturated area in the Northeast. According to data from the National Weather Service's Mid-Atlantic River Forecast Center, in the weeks leading up to its arrival, upwards of 3 inches of rain had already fallen in the Pennsylvania area. Even though Hurricane Agnes was only a Category 1 storm on the Saffir-Simpson scale, it produced a torrential amount of rain and flooding, in turn causing damage costs to exceed what was thought of for a Category 1 storm. After everything was said and Hurricane Agnes had pushed out to sea for the final time, there was a lot of cleanup to be done and a lot of preparation needed for the future. Robert Schnell, Operations Project Manager for the Tioga Hammond and Kauneski Lakes projects, explains long before Hurricane Agnes in 1946, the United States Army Corps of Engineers was tasked to study the Susquehanna River Basin on ways to reduce flooding.
And then in 1958, Congress authorized a flood control act that enabled the Corps of Engineers to construct the Tioga Hammond and Kauneski projects. Construction started within September of 1971, and then the following year, June of 1972, is when Hurricane Agnes hit, reaffirming the need for the Tioga Hammond projects.
Ron Mosier, the assistant dam operator at Kauneski Lake, and Walt Beach, the sewage and water plant operator, reminisce about what it was like before Hurricane Agnes and the flood of 1972.
Right after that was the Valley View and a Peter Pan, and they were on the next corner up, so to speak, about halfway down, well, 2/3 of the way down the channel coming into here if you launch a boat up there.
Lovejoy's garage in the corner.
Right, Lovejoy's garage.
The flats here were cabbage fields and chicken farms.
There really wasn't a whole lot of houses down through there, I don't think.
Not too many, no.
There were not like on 287 going towards Hammond. There was a lot more houses there than there were up this way.
Yeah, bigger farms over here.
Right.
When Ron Mosier and Walt Beach close their eyes and look out over the lake, what do they remember seeing?
We had several farms down here in the valley. We had French's and Hank Redner's. Ed Wood's farm was down here in the corner.
Right. Both sides were all just farm fields.
Yeah.
Were good hay and grain fields both. And then the road went across the south end of what it's pretty much most of it's underwater.
That was called Hammond.
Right.
Small village of Hammond. There was a cemetery there at Hammond, which they had to move all the people and relocate them up on the Coal Road, yep. And moving up, we had Holiday above us, and that was mostly all relocated. And again, there was some small farming in the village, and there was a little store that years ago we used to go there, and they had fireworks on the 4th of July.
The railroad come just about down through the middle of where the lake is now. There was a railroad, and then the road was on the right-hand side, on the north side of where the railroad was. 72 washed a lot of that out. The railroad, all the railroads quit running after 72 because of all the washouts.
Yep.
And the roads they put back, but the railroad they didn't. And then this started in 76 or 77,
Yep.
somewhere in there, that they actually started the construction of the dam and cutting the spillway out here.
Another flashback can be seen approximately 8 miles north of the Tioga-Hamon Lakes and situated just south of the New York border sits the town of Lawrenceville, Pennsylvania. Heavy rain from Hurricane Agnes caused extensive flooding throughout the town. Take a look at this comparison. On the left is what Lawrenceville currently looks like, and on the right is a photograph taken at 1:30 p.m. on June 23, 1972, showing the flooding in Lawrenceville. That's almost all the time we have for today's show. Be sure to tune in next week as we continue our feature story on Hurricane Agnes and the flood of 72 here at the Tioga-Hamon Lakes Project. For Whether or Not, I'm Ryan Bells.